So here to talk through the statue park by David Altizio called Off by One. It's got another symmetry type theme, but we've got a cell here in white versus a cell in black, everything else reflected. Like yesterday's puzzle, we can start by looking at some of these connected groups and saying, can they join together? Three blacks in a row can't join to these singles, but a single up here can't dodge the rest of these in its connections. So this, if this was marked in as these three, we would be isolating some cells. So this has to be white across the top. It forces in a T tetramino. Down on this side, we actually don't have the same powerful deduction that marks them off, but we still can't have this cell isolated from the rest. Actually, I think the key thing is we can't have this be a black cell, and so coming out from here, we can mark everything else in. Still recognizing we have to get out across the top and around the grid. Look at this. We got two T's up top. So if all the T's are reflected in the top of the grid, then there's not a T down here. This is forming an S. This is coming together and will be an L or an S. That also means over here, this is not a T. In this space, it's going to be an L. So we've got those constraints. Can mark this off. We still have to get some of these white cells out. And here may be a time with, you know, an S or an L, an S given, an L given, and then one of these forming another shape. We should recognize that really the last S or L is going to be using some of these black tetromino pieces here. And the only thing that it could be that's not is either an O or an I. This could be an I, and then that forces two O's, but that's leading to some isolation in the grid. And actually, it's the case that this piece itself can't do anything but connect up and form an L or an S. And so where this will be the last L or S, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 shapes for the two L's, two S's. We do have a confirmed O down here. This moves up. This now is of a pattern. It has to be an S, which means this will be an L. This will be an L. We're now left with really thinking through how to get two I's in this grid. We can get an I over here, we can get an I coming across. If we get another I coming across, this L will be somewhat forcing. So we've got to do this while also getting a second O in the grid. So if we got a good I space here, potential I space here, and an I space coming across is marking off all the ones that could have an O. So this looks like the only spot that can take an O, leaving behind a vertical I. This becoming an L and leaving behind this long I as well. So a fully logical theme and solve, but you may not have appreciated until sort of working through it how you slowly get into not knowing the absolute identities of L's or S's like this piece and this piece, but that they can't be O's and I's. You spent enough of the tetromino shapes that you now really have just one clue that's different, and you've got to place three different shapes in the middle of this grid. So really elegant visual theme, a really fun logical solve. This has been a great statue park week so far, so thanks David for this puzzle. We'll see you again soon.